Good morning. Just ahead of 4:37 in farm news, there are other factors, but it's a lot of our wet weather that's threatening some of the small grain crop with deficiencies of some important nutrients. That includes corn, too. NDSU soil scientist Dave Franzen says producers dealing with yellow leaves in corn are probably facing a sulfur deficiency.
Some of the studies that Iowa State has done, who also have sulfur problems, they've discovered in the last 10 years or so. Before then, they didn't see any at all, but sometimes 30, 40 bushel yield responses, that's very common. So I guess if you're willing to take the hit, you do nothing. But if you want to make some money, then solution of gypsum or a solution of ammonium sulfate on. Very little is taken up through the leaves. Most of it's taken up by the roots. You need some kind of a rain, either with the ammonium thiosulfate or the ammonium sulfate. Doesn't take a lot of rain, but you need some rain.
Franzen says there are two systems that are probably the easiest solution. He recommends 50 pounds of ammonium sulfate over the top of the crop, or you can stream bar some ammonium thiosulfate liquid down the middle of the corn rows. With persistent wet weather comes the threat of leaf diseases in the small grain crop, especially true in wheat, where stripe rust, even some head scab now being reported.
Yeah, when you think of the small grains right now, winter wheat has flowered or is near flowering, and some of the earliest planted spring wheat is heading out and approaching flowering. And so one thing I'd like to make sure everybody knows is to start thinking about the scab applications, especially with the upcoming wet weather. There's probably the likelihood of development this year may elevate with some of the pending rainstorms.
Friskup says western and central North Dakota are seeing problems with wheat streak mosaic. That can reduce yields by 90 to 100%. Well, with folks out west dealing with one of the worst droughts in over a century, this week the Obama administration announced it is providing more than $100 million in aid to communities impacted by the drought. Big portion of that money will go to help farmers whose businesses have been dealt a huge blow. Hallie Jackson takes a closer look.
This morning, instead of harvesting his asparagus, Joe Del Bosque's ripping it out. Why?
Because we don't have enough water for it, and we're very uncertain about what we're going to have next year.
He's plowing under 155 acres, ironically, on the same land President Obama visited last spring.
There's a huge demand for all this fresh produce. That's what I mentioned to the president. We produce healthy food that the First Lady would like to see our children eating.
California grows the most asparagus of any state, the most broccoli, lettuce, and strawberries, too. In all, nearly half our produce comes from here. But this year, growers will leave more than 500,000 acres unplanted, about 7% of farmland in a state that feeds the nation. But even the president can't make it rain.
I think it's important that all of us take responsibility because it's not just California.
The drought could drive up food prices nationwide about 2%, but its costs are much higher for farmhands.
For somebody who's relying on summer work to get them through the year and it goes away, then the food bank is the alternative.
As you see, there's
food banks like this one in Fresno, which President Obama also visited. It's serving twice as many people as it used to, giving out 10 times as much food to farm workers out of jobs and out of options.
The drought is really what we would consider a slow-moving emergency. We're just going to have to find a way.
A way to make it work. But for farmers like Del Bosque, work is drying up.
Well, about a week ago, the drought-stricken state of California ordered the largest cuts on record to farmers holding some of the state's largest water rights. State water officials told more than 100 senior rights holders in California's Sacramento, San Joaquin, and Delta watersheds to stop pumping from those waterways. This move marks the first significant mandatory cuts because of drought for senior water rights holders since the last major drought in the late 70s. Polish scientists have found pigs prefer Mozart to Metallica. 60 pigs in Krakow are being used in the study to see if music can influence their behavior. Recordings are played into the pens twice a day for 15 minutes, but just as in humans, not all the population listens to the same tunes. Half the group have the classical strains of Mozart drifting into their pen. The other half being trained as budding rockers with the music of melodic metal band The Scorpions. I know some of you like the Scorpions, but the pigs don't. After the first 5 months of research, Turned out that pigs listening to Mozart gained weight better than those who listened to the rock music. After several years of diligent study, the polls have found that pigs have a preference also in color. They like blue and red, and they are adverse to certain odors. They don't like alcohol. Here's more from the pig department. The Ohio Department of Transportation removed 3 miniature houses placed along US 35 in the area where a semi hauling more than 2,000 piglets crashed June 9th. Xenia, Ohio residents discovered these houses Monday morning. They were placed there by an unknown person, modeled after the houses from the Three Little Pigs folktale. One of the homes made of straw, another of sticks, the last house made of bricks. They had to be removed, though, from the side of the road because they were a distraction for drivers. Officials feared they'd cause an accident. In fact, motorists were pulling over and walking across the highway to take pictures with the houses. It resulted in a big traffic backup. Motorists considered the houses a tribute to the pigs that died in the crash. And of course, there were some still pigs wandering around after that crash. They should choose the brick one, correct? It's 4:42. Right after the break, we're going to come back and take a look at our ag weather and the big storms moving out of South Dakota into Nebraska.